Welcome to the Freedom Podcast. Ow! Hey guys, my name is Dr. Cole Ryan with Freedom Physical Therapy and Fitness, rebranding as Freedom Functional Wellness. We are here for episode 5 with Nick Denotto, and we're going to be talking about all of his knowledge and base nutrition. Super excited to have him on board here for today's podcast. He's deep in the fitness and nutrition space and the founder of Base Nutrition. They focus on high quality, whole food based supplements, such as their beef organ complex that we'll go over. I'm really passionate about helping people fill the gaps, especially with our modern diets where we're missing a lot of nutrients, vitamins, and minerals here. So Nick, pumped to have you on. Go ahead and introduce yourself and talk a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, Cole, happy to be here. I'm, like you said, Nick Denotto. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. After college, I moved out to San Diego, California for a while, and just, I was working the corporate job, corporate finance. Went to school for finance, so thought that might be what I wanted to do. But like always in the back of my mind, I knew I wanted to do something more entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
I just had no idea what that would have been. While I was out there, I did flirt with the idea of supplements and nutritional products, but never had like this aha moment, like this is what I want to be selling or creating. So after 6 or 7 years, I moved out to Florida, be closer to family. And then a couple years after that is when I finally started Base Nutrition, 2024.
Great. 2024, so fairly new product, really in this just major marketing phase. Like Nick talked about before we started, there is so much competition in this industry, but ultimately the performance of the supplement eventually starts to speak for itself. So let's go ahead and just kind of touch base real quick on, the supplement and really what it's all about and what it consists of.
Yeah, so I had always been working, like I was an athlete, so I'd always been working out, but the thing I never really focused on was my diet and nutrition. So, I would spend hours in the gym and not really get the results that I wanted, and I would still kind of be tired, the midday blues, stuff like that. Not really seeing any kind of growth in terms of muscle growth, and that was because I was just on this kick where I would just fast before I even knew what intermittent fasting was. Mm-hmm. And that was because I was more of like I'm a hungry eater instead of just like eating to fuel my body. So leading up to 2024, I started really dialing into my diet. I was listening to a Gary Brecka podcast, and he was talking about multivitamins and how it had like cyanocobalamin in them. It's a synthetic form of vitamin B12. So I went into my pantry, whatever you want to call it, and I pulled out the one-a-day vitamins that I had, and I was just like, reading the ingredients label, and I was just like, damn, he's right. I mean, like, whatever the case may be, whether it has like trace amount of cyanide in it or has a cyanide molecule in it, I just had this moment where I was like, I just don't want to ingest something that is made in a lab if nature gives it to us in its purest form. So it was that point where I was just going on to, like, I was testing the carnivore diet, and I finally, decided the animal-based diet was for me just because, the fruits in it, eating berries and stuff was something that I enjoyed doing, number one, and felt like a positive impact on my diet. So then I tried to incorporate liver and different organ meat, and it was tough. If it wasn't the taste and preparation of it all, it was finding it, getting it from a good source, because not everywhere sells like cow liver or chicken liver or whatever you're eating. So finally, and obviously, like, I'm not reinventing the wheel. There's other products that do the same thing. So I was at the point where I was like, well, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do something that I'm passionate about and that helps people. I've seen positive results from having this kind of diet, but let me do it in a way that's convenient and palatable for 99% of the population, where they're probably not going to eat liver or any of these organ meats. So
yeah,
the animal-based diet is kind of where the base comes from, among other things, and that's where the idea came from.
Great. No, you're absolutely right. It is difficult because I've had liver, and it's very difficult to eat.
I mean, it's
dry.
Tough. Yeah.
So the enrichment, though, that the beef organs have, is really vital to our nutrition now. And we'll kind of go into now our first point, why people feel like crap all the time, where you're tired, you're maybe depressed, you don't want to do anything, you feel maybe some weakness as well. Well, a lot of times it's because you have nutrient deficiencies. So here in the United States, and this is an unfortunate thing that I don't even like saying, here in the United States, we have some of the worst food in the world, I think, at this point. So we're lacking our diet here, a lot of nutritional value. And with that being said, also the stress and the lifestyle factors that we have on top of that. So we have nutrient deficiencies. We don't exercise regularly. We're stressed because we're at work and everyone bitches and complains about work. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be here from 9 to 5. Yeah. So really how that ties into our conversation is the nutritional side of it, but then the clinical side of it, or the overall just fitness and wellness side of it, where I'm working on strengthening and conditioning, mobility work, and things like that. So I wanted to let's talk about nutrient deficiencies. Give me one or two nutrients throughout people's diets you feel like we lack the most.
Well, definitely the full spectrum B vitamins. And then if people are getting sick chronically, it's usually, their immune system is probably not as strong as it should be. So zinc and selenium help with that a lot. Iron is another thing that, again, once we get into this conversation of, red meat is bad for you, it's like there's not really many other places that you're getting a high quality source of iron from. So I would say the B vitamins and iron for me is really what helps the most. When people complain about being tired, or feeling lethargic, or whatever the case may be, they'll feel the difference, and they often do. Like that's one of the points that most people reiterate to me about taking based is it's the energy that they feel, or the endurance that they have during workouts, and those are both attributable to the iron and B vitamins.
Yeah, great. So I wanted to touch on the B vitamins. So I've had a lot of patients, and one in particular deficient in B vitamins, and they could not figure out what was going on. All these doctors, and I finally said to my patient, I said, I think you should probably get some lab work done that really covers a lot of the vitamins and nutrients inside the blood, and see if there are any deficiencies. And he did in fact have vitamin B deficiencies. Yeah. And now he's getting a full supplementation through it. So that was just something that he had, like global weakness. He had sometimes some numbness and tingling in his lower extremities. Yeah. So it was really interesting to see how the nervous system really responds well to your nutrients and your diet as well.
Yeah.
Let me just get your site back up here.
No worries. But yeah, I mean, blood work is huge because most people have no idea. And for me, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Nuviva or like T clinics. No. So my brother works at Nuviva, which is like a health and wellness clinic up in Fort Myers, and they have some offices down here. And I don't like needles. Like, I just don't like being stabbed as a general rule.
Yeah.
And so I never really I shouldn't say never, but like in my adult life, I never really had my blood work done. So I had no idea what my test levels were, what my B vitamins were. I had no idea how I was doing metabolically. And so finally, like now I start doing it and monitoring these things, because if you don't have the data, then you really don't have any idea. And unless you're going to the doctor pretty regularly, you don't know. And a lot of people don't realize that it's just nutrient deficiency. Like I have a friend who, she gets eye twitches, and I just read up online that like that could be due to nutrient deficiency, and obviously some other things, but like those are the things that people don't really think about. And going back to the energy levels, if you're not getting B vitamins, or then you're not getting the most out of the food that you eat anyway. So it's tough. Like my grandmother has iron deficiency. Obviously she wouldn't know that if she wasn't getting her blood work done.
Right.
And lo and behold, she's gone probably decades without really being a big red meat eater, more of like a pescatarian thing.
Okay.
But then where are you getting your iron from?
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
And obviously there's vegetables you can eat, but I'm not like the biggest fan of vegetables. So
yeah.
You have to be either getting it through your diet or supplementing what you do eat. And most people aren't doing either or.
Yeah.
So
deficiencies, the one that I wanted to touch on, because I really touched on it this past weekend. We had a workshop regarding low back pain and sciatica. So, you know, when you're going through working out, whether you're going through physical therapy, just a fitness and wellness program or what have you, you're trying to build muscle. We need adequate protein. We need an adequate diet to support the building blocks. And what I see probably the most of is lack of protein and lack of hydration.
yeah.
So lack of protein, currently recommended 1.2 grams per kilogram of target body weight or current body weight per day. And that's up to 1.6 even. And then the hydration side of it, you know, there's a few different kind of beliefs on how much water you should be taking. I had an old classmate of mine in PT school. He wrote a book, and his recommendation kind of fell in line with the ounces per kilogram of body weight for water. And, you know, I get this all the time. I have patients or clients that come in and I ask, you know, how's your hydration? How's your water intake? Well, I drink coffee and then I have like a Diet Coke. I'm like, what are we doing?
In their defense, there's water in those things, but like,
and that's exactly what they say. I mean, there's water in those things.
Yeah.
So I fight back and forth with them on that. And then the other thing being protein. You know, if you're 100 pounds, you take half your body weight. I mean, you really need, even being 100 pounds, you need like 50 grams of protein.
Yeah.
So if you're 200 pounds, you need a little bit more than 100 grams of protein in your diet.
And that's a day.
And that's a day.
And like you were saying, that 9 to 5, I mean, you know, God bless everybody that does that. It's crucial. But it doesn't really prioritize, it doesn't really force you or allow you to prioritize yourself and your health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, you need to like, people don't eat as much as they should. Forget about what they should be eating. They're like, and I used to be this, like I was saying before, like I wasn't eating a lot. I was just in a perpetual state of fast, because when I was younger, I heard that, you know, X amount of calories will actually kind of reverse age your heart. And I had heart issues when I was younger. So I had this idea in my head that like, oh, I'm just eating less calories.
Yeah.
And it'll be good for me. Not realizing that I need X amount of protein, X amount of carbs, X amount of fat. And where are you getting your nutrients from? Like the ether, if you're not eating, you're not getting anything that you need.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that was just kind of this weird belief that I had to train out of me.
Yeah, so touching on protein, talk about some of the other macros that just kind of give some people some idea on the other macros that are really important.
So for me, like I said, I've had this evolution of my dietary, I guess, personal guidelines. So number one for me is I always prioritize protein with every meal.
Yeah.
I really I don't get excited about things that aren't primarily protein. Like sure, salads are great, and I'm sure there's people out there that make a killer Caesar salad. That's awesome, and I would love it. But if it doesn't have primarily protein, it just is like blah to me, you know?
Yeah.
And then the next one for me is fats. And then I do eat carbs. You know, I'm more, like I said, I'm more on like an animal-based diet. But my carbs are primarily from fruit. Like I'm not eating a whole lot of grains or breads or pastas, even though I'm Italian. I know that's kind of sacrilegious, but I don't, like you were talking about our food. There's so much of our food, especially the carb-rich food, that are just ultra processed. They have all these other extra ingredients in them. You know, maybe pesticides, herbicides, whatever they're spraying on this stuff. And I don't feel great if I eat like a bowl of pasta.
Yeah.
Like a bowl of American pasta just kind of shuts me down.
You feel heavy. You feel low energy.
Yeah, lethargic.
I'm always ready to go to bed after I have a bowl of spaghetti.
And because it's your body just like, you're just gumming up the system, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, seed oils are another thing, and I know there's like debate on whether they're good for you. But I always fall back on, and I think this is pretty logical when I say it out loud, is if it's not in its most natural state, if it's not whole foods, then I'm just not going to eat it.
Yeah.
Or eat it as much. Like nobody's perfect. Like I go to Wendy's or whatever every now and then just for that little serotonin boost. But like there are people who live on that stuff, and then they wonder why they're sick all the time. They wonder why they're low energy. They wonder why like they can't get rid of like stubborn belly fat. And it is first your diet, and then everything else, like activity level and the way you live.
100%, 100%. All right, so we talked about really some of the nutrition gaps here that we're having. So touching over some statistics now, I've got some bangers here for you guys. So 60% of U.S. calories come from ultra-processed foods, and all that means is there is a process before that food actually gets to the shelves, okay? 65 to 70% are kids and teens. So I can talk about this all day long. With my kids, I got a 2-year-old little girl, and I got a baby boy on the way.
Nice, congratulations.
Thank you. And that is, you know, I used to question back when I was young, when I was 10 years old, and I had an aunt who was like, if it's not organic, it's not healthy.
And now
what are you talking about?
now I'm the same way.
And now I'm the same way, exactly.
I used to be the same way. Oh, organic, like, what are you, a hippie?
Yeah.
Here I am in Publix,
exactly
like, hey, no, this is not organic. And again, like the food labels and stuff, we don't know if it's true. We don't know if it's truly organic. The grass-fed stuff, we don't know if it's truly grass-fed, or because there's guidelines from the FDA or from whoever, these regulatory bodies, that give these companies a little wiggle room with those definitions. Absolutely. And we're somewhat being deceived. But yeah, like you're saying, like as little kids, we were just eating everything.
We were just eating everything, and I will tell you, like when I go into a grocery store and I'm picking something up for my kids, I am scanning the ingredients list with Yucca. That's a Yucca app, Y-U-K-A. Guys, I highly recommend you take that app in with you to the grocery store. It will freaking blow your mind.
Yeah.
So I use that a lot, especially when the ingredients list gets really long. If it is really long, it's likely a bad food for you. But the big one is Pedialyte. So Pedialyte and Gatorade. I will absolutely gladly call their asses out for just the poor artificial coloring that they put in with the red dyes, the yellow dyes. These are industrial byproducts here, and they're artificial food colors. So you're seeing a lot of issues with that in people's diet. I think we'll just go ahead and shut this off next time. So I'm always checking the ingredients labels, especially with my kids now, because another one is, you'll see potassium bromate, and potassium bromate is an ingredient in a lot of our foods, the instant biscuits, and It's a known carcinogen, and it's actually a banned substance in the EU.
Yeah.
So this stuff is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So to continue on the statistics, obviously most people are eating ultra-processed foods now. Protein bars, breakfast cereals, fast food, obviously, chips, cookies, candies that you're buying out of the store. I'm not talking about fresh baked stuff necessarily.
Yeah.
Soda and flavored drinks, and then any of the processed meats. The big one that people have been hitting hard on, Brecca brought it up actually the other day, is deli meat.
Yeah, the nitrates and...
Yeah, so go ahead and just kind of talk about your thoughts on the food that we have in the United States.
I mean, I've heard this saying where food is ingredients. Food doesn't have ingredients. And like what that means is like if I'm eating food, it's a steak, it's blueberries, it's an avocado, it's whatever. Those things don't have ingredients. Those things are ingredients into something else.
Right, right.
And once you start having these like biblically long ingredients lists, by the time you're at the end of it, I don't even know what I'm eating. Like it's just a conglomeration of these chemicals that have, like you said, been banned in other places, and leave it to Europe and Canada and all these other places to be like, yeah, you know what, we're not going to poison our people. But here, I mean, and we can go down the rabbit hole, but like you just have so many of these corporations who are owned by Wall Street that they're just looking to increase their profit margins. Yeah. So they're just going to feed us whatever. And we kind of just sit there and take it. Whereas you go back into the 60s and 70s and everybody's seen those pictures where it's like, oh, here's America in the 1960s and everybody's on the beach and everybody's like super slim in shape. And you have it like compared to a picture of people today and everybody's out of shape. And now we have like autism rates that we didn't really see back in the day, obesity rates that we didn't see back in the day. You know, I was listening to a podcast with Joe Rogan and RFK, and something like 70% of teens aren't qualified for the military or something like that. Or now we see 1 in 30 kids have autism diagnoses or something that was mind-blowing to me. And I was just like, and obviously you can't pick one boogeyman, but when you think about what's being added to our diet, all the things that we're vaccinating our kids for, it is good for us to take a step back and question, like, what the hell are we putting into our bodies?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, we have to find why this is happening before we just, like, accept it as status quo.
Yeah, and as status quo. So, guys, I mean, look at yourself. Look around. You know, this chronic obesity epidemic, autism rates. No, it's not just because we're getting better at diagnosing. It's not because, you know, well, I don't exercise as much as I should. It's because we're overweight. We're pumping kids full of crappy food, crappy injections where, you know, Collier County Public Schools at one point, they required 4 to 5 vaccines for each one, like the MMR. And, you know, if you want to talk about efficacy, you can have 90% efficacy after just 3. So why are we talking about 4 and 5 vaccinations for one, you know, MMR or Tdap and things like that?
Yeah, or blasting these kids with however many vaccines in their first year. Or I mean, I don't have kids, but I was a kid, and like we're vaccinating kids for hepatitis B, which is like
when they're first born. Yeah, it's absurd.
It behooves us to question things. Like that's kind of the whole point of our country, is to be dubious of like the power structures, because we don't always know if our best interests are in their mind. Yeah,
and I would say likely not right now. Well, so this is why Nick and I are here today to, I mean, really talk about it and be real about it, give you guys some good information to go home with. So, you know, risks with the ultra-processed foods, well, what does that mean? You got long ingredients lists. Look at the back of your bread. Look at the back of, you know, whatever it is you're buying, your Chips Ahoy. Your Chips Ahoy will drive you nuts.
Yeah.
That is like poison.
Guilty. I had a couple of those last night.
Oh, listen to this guy. So the ultra processed foods, so leads to obesity, diabetes, heart disease, depression and anxiety, gut dysfunction and inflammation, and really overall mortality risk significantly higher. And it's just important to take a good look at, what's going on. Just be real with yourself. Glyphosate levels that were found in bread just like a month ago was crazy.
Yeah.
It was off the charts, guys.
Yeah.
Even with some of the breads that I've bought in the past, they found high levels of glyphosate. And glyphosate, that's what a lot of farmers use right now. And they recently had an executive order to continue the use of it because the understanding is if we stopped using it, it would cause a mass food shortage.
Yeah, I mean, because we basically built the foundation of our food system on the back of glyphosate and all these other pesticides and herbicides. Yeah. So to just get rid of it would kind of, throw a wrench into the system. Yeah, and the stats on those things are wild. I was just listening to a podcast with this guy who's running for governor in Iowa.
Okay.
And Iowa is, I guess the breadbasket for, a euphemism that we could use for the country and partially the world. And Iowa has the highest new cancer rates of anywhere in the history of the world. Like, they are the epicenter of cancer in our country. And it's because so many, and not just the farmers, people in that community, because of the runoff or, it being aerosolized or whatever the case may be. And their cancer rates are higher than that of Nevada, which has the highest rate of smoking in the country. So people aren't getting cancer from smoking as much as they are from pesticides and herbicides, which we spray on all our food.
Yeah.
And again, to go back to the point of these corporations that really just don't have our interests in mind, you have State Street, Vanguard, and BlackRock are, the investors are in one of the biggest pesticides manufacturers, at least in the American side of things. I forget what the name is, but then you have another one that's owned by China and produces this thing called paraquat, which is still used in the U.S. And this one is so much worse than glyphosate that people have no idea what it is. It nearly doubles your rate of Parkinson or your chance of getting Parkinson's if you were to be around it or ingest it. If you ingest it, it's pretty much like your organs are shutting down. But if you are in contact with it or and Parkinson's is not something that you want to get at all.
No, and I work with Parkinson's.
Yeah.
I was telling Nick earlier, so I do boxing programs for Parkinson's, and I'm seeing it more and more, and we are seeing, significantly increased rates of Parkinson's.
Yeah,
and that's that diagnosis.
Yeah, and that goes back to our point of autism, obesity. We don't quite understand how strong the link is between getting these diseases or being obese or having autism or whatever the case may be is to what we eat.
Yeah, 100%.
And if we knew, let's say even a quarter of the Parkinson's cases were linked to what people were eating. Because personally, I don't just buy that okay, maybe it's genetics. Yeah, that's fine. But one day you're just, wham, you get Parkinson's. Again, it probably is a good thing to take a step back and ask what linkage that has with the food we eat.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, so let's kind of touch into your beef organ supplement here. So I want you to actually just talk about the ingredients and then really why it's important, why they're important.
Yeah. So there's 5 simple ingredients. There's no fillers. There's no additives or anything like that. We get liver, heart, kidney, spleen, and pancreas.
Okay.
And those are some of the most nutrient-dense cuts of meats, even more so than muscle meats that you would get in a steak or anything like that. And that's due to the metabolic functions that they serve. So the metabolic function leads to that concentration of nutrients. Like your heart pumps blood all day, every day, so it needs a higher concentration of nutrients. Your liver detoxifies. So that's why those meats are more nutritious than, just like a ribeye or something like that.
Okay, so we're talking about like high concentrations of the nutrients.
Yeah, B vitamins, iron. You're getting copper, zinc, so minerals that you wouldn't normally get, or maybe would get it in a smaller dose if you were just eating red meat, like muscle meats.
Okay. And then what about the overall like protein aspect of it? If someone were like, how much protein is in a bottle of this?
Yeah, so I mean, I've had people ask me about the protein, and it's not a source. I mean, it's there, obviously, right? Because it's a powder derived from freeze-dried organ meats, but it's not something that like I would recommend, hey, take this for increased protein intake. Like I would still tell people, make sure you're eating animal meat, because that's, for thousands and thousands of years, what human beings have been getting by on for their protein sources. And so like, that's number one. And I always tell people, like, this isn't a like cure-all, right? So they're called supplements for a reason. You're supposed to be eating food to a point where you're only using this to fill in the cracks left behind by, time constraints or whatever the case may be. You're just not eating enough. So you take a supplement, whether it be the beef organs or a protein powder, to fill in the cracks, to make sure you're getting that recommended, B vitamin, that daily value of your B vitamins, or your daily value of protein. So it's not like a silver bullet by any means. And I normally don't say like, hey, this is really good for your protein.
Okay. So I was talking to Nick about the product, and really what I'm excited to talk about is our Freedom Strong program that we're really want to move forward with. It's a metabolic strength and wellness protocol, and it's essentially a 12-week program to where we'll help you work through weight loss, gaining strength along that weight loss journey, and then the nutrition side of it, making sure we're measuring your fluid intake, as in your water intake, your protein intake, and then supplementing with his product. So really what this product could play a role in is you get your protein intake, and this kind of helps turn the key. And it really helps with the synthesis side of things as well, which is great. So, we can, and we see this a lot, we can have protein intake, but not be absorbing it. So that's another thing that I don't think people are talking about. Like, say if you just pull some, protein supplement off the shelf, and it says it's got 25 grams of protein. Just because you take a scoop of that doesn't necessarily mean that you get all 25 grams of protein.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's something that it took me a while to figure out too, because again, like there's a lot of stuff in that powder that is not protein. It's just maybe it's filler. God knows what it is. It most often it's like saying that in that 25 or whatever, how big that scoop is, you turn the back and see the label, then it'll tell you like, oh, you're getting 25 grams in that scoop. But again, like, who knows what's in there?
Yeah. So who knows what's in there? How much of the protein are you getting? So that's why it's really good to take a look at the ingredients list on your protein. And if you have questions, you can certainly reach out to one of us to get some insight. No problem. For our website's freedomptfitness.com right now, and then your website, basednutrition.us.
Yep.
So you guys are always welcome to connect with us online. But to go over really supplements versus the BS and the stuff that's really garbage that's on the market, I always say if it's really bright and colorful, it's probably not. I think of it as almost like Fruit Loops. Yeah. Probably not a good product.
Which people don't realize, like Fruit Loops was on like dietary guidelines as being like healthy.
Yeah.
I think that was again what RFK was telling me in that podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like,
you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
We got red 40, we got yellow 1, blue 6, all that stuff.
And, you know, it's when you think about, you kind of like reverse engineer what they're doing with food dyes. It's making crappier food look more appetizing.
Right.
And when you're talking about Fruit Loops, like, who are they targeting? They're not targeting guys like us. They're targeting children.
Kids.
Yeah.
Kids. And our kids are lacking nutrition. I think a big one that my daughter's lacking right now is magnesium.
Mm-hmm. Which is huge. I mean, I take magnesium glycinate. I know there's a million different magnesiums, but people don't understand like how important magnesium is.
Yeah.
Especially for your sleep. And then that's another thing that people don't get enough of, or quality sleep. And all these things can be fixed if you just kind of give your body what it needs.
Yeah. And I think some people get caught up in, well, how much should I take? So that was something that I really had to take a look at on, you know, in the magnesium glycinate and the different supplements. Is they'll have a general guideline. Well, how much should I take? And so that's something that I can also provide you with support on, because providers don't know. The FDA doesn't know. And so we're just kind of guessing with supplements, which is crazy. We should probably put more research in this than gabapentin or Celebrex and all this other stuff.
Or just push out like the newest GLP-1.
Yeah, so we're pushing out all these alternatives when there are healthier options. What do you got to do? You got to put a little bit of work and effort, and you have you know, guys like us to hold you accountable. That's what we're here for. But you know, why some of this stuff matters is it's easy to overeat, right? It's easy to eat junk food.
Yeah.
So if it's not whole food, it's probably not good. And then simple fix, guys, eating whole foods, eggs, whole meats, whole fruits, vegetables, stick to shorter ingredients list, high quality supplements. So grass-fed, grass-finished, which I know is your product, which is fantastic. You use supplements to fill the gaps, not replace food.
Yeah.
So the final talking point is, you know, how to actually feel better. So what we talked about, fixing pain levels, obesity, low energy. Where do you start? You first start with your nutrition. You start with your food.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, and which is perfect, everything else starts to fall in line. But you got to start in your nutrition. If you're not starting in your nutrition, you feel like crap, you're not going to really want to go to the gym.
Yeah. And that's just what I was going to say. Like, avoid things that make you not want to do the things you should do.
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm eating like crap, I'm not getting enough sleep, I'm not drinking enough water, getting electrolytes in my, like, what are the chances I want to go to the gym after an 8-hour day, or wake up early enough to go before work?
Right.
And that's not just going to the gym, but like enjoying time with your kids, enjoying time with your family, like living life. If you're not, and this is really what all this stuff comes down to. I know a lot of it is preventative stuff, but it's improving the quality of your life. Like, if you eat like crap, you sleep like crap, you don't work out, you're not going to enjoy life. It's going to be like a chore. Everything you do is just going to be a pain in the ass.
So nutrition first. If you don't, everything's gonna suck, right? Yeah. So that's going to help us build the foundation that we need for whether it's strength training, whether it's cardio, whether it's going outside and playing with your children or your grandchildren, playing golf. It's very popular here in Naples.
Yeah.
All these things. And then recovery strategies as well. So have things in place. So I talk about this a lot with people, especially people that are coming in for physical therapy. Guys, you're probably going to be sore after some exercise. That's okay. Mm-hmm. That's a normal response to exercise. Yeah. And that's where we start talking about like dosages. Like if I dose an exercise 3 sets to 12 at 50%, 1 rep max, or, however in depth we get into with your treatment or your just overall fitness plan. So some soreness is okay, but the recovery strategies, so whether it's the massage, it's instrument assist soft tissue work, just shock wave, dry needling, red light, near infrared. We have a lot of options. Supplementation. As far as recovery goes, and that's important as well. Cold plunges.
Saunas.
The saunas, absolutely. So you guys have to take those next steps. You can do it, but you have to do it. So really, final thing that we'll talk about. If you or someone that's dealing with any kind of low energy, weight loss problems, weakness issues, guys, feel free. We want to offer you a free discovery visit. It's a 20-minute consultation where you'll come in and you'll sit down and talk with a doctor of physical therapy about your condition, and then we can certainly set you up on a nutritional aspect, and then that overall health and wellness. So whether it's like a functional mobility protocol where we're working on getting on and off the floor, up and down from a chair, in and out of the car, things like that, riding your bike, we can work on things. So anything you want to add to as we close out?
No, I mean, I think we touched on a lot of things. Like I said, I think the key to being healthy is just taking care of your body. Like, I read this thing in Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. It's like people are willing to do more to make sure that their pets are healthy and okay than they are themselves. And like the first time I read that, it didn't really sink in, but as I have gotten more in tune with my health and others' health, it's like, and being a dog owner, like there's not really anything I wouldn't do to make sure my dog is at the healthiest he can be. But then like, am I willing to do the same for myself? And obviously now the answer is yes, but for a lot of people, it's a simple question, but it's not something that I think a lot of people consider. Like you're not going to feed your dog. I mean, a lot of people do, but that's a discussion for another time, ultra processed food. But, we got to take care of ourselves.
Realistically, whether it's you're feeding your dogs, expensive food, or you get your dog groomed often, or you take care of your pets more than you take care of yourself, or you go out and buy these material items, but you're not investing in your health to feel good in order to enjoy those material items, that's a problem that we as a society are facing right now. Guys, it's important to invest in your health. It's common to know that when something's more expensive, the better it probably is, the higher quality it probably is. That's not always true, but when it comes to just overall product service, certainly trying what we have to offer, it can absolutely change your life.
And you bringing up investing, like health is the ultimate form of wealth. Like to my point earlier, if you're not feeling like taking on life, then probably not going to meet or exceed the expectations you have for yourself. Achieve all the things you want to achieve. So, I mean, my tagline for BASE has always been, it's nutrition the way God intended. And that just gets to like the simplicity of it all. There are things on this planet that, higher powers have left for us to sustain us and give us life. And we don't really need to doctor it up any more than that. So it's just getting back to basics. And I think if more people did that, the healthier they would be. So
I'll close on, that was great. Good point. And I'll close on, this is something that I truly believe any disease that's naturally occurring, there is something on this planet that we can treat it with that's naturally occurring. And I do truly believe that. If it doesn't naturally occur, whatever disease, Parkinson's, where it's an environmental toxin that might be causing it, that's where maybe we have something natural, but the likelihood of having something natural to treat it is much less. And now we have to use something unnatural to treat it.
Right. Yeah. I think that's obvious from the fact that even using glyphosate on certain plants or weeds, they are becoming resistant to it.
Yeah.
So there's something going on that is triggering them to build up this resistance to it. And I don't know, maybe that could be applied to us, or maybe we just, the better answer is probably like, we don't really need to use that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So keep it whole foods, stay active. Don't sit on your butt for too long. Get up, get active, work out 3 to 4 times a week. Supplement if you need to. Look at your nutrients, any deficiencies you have. Magnesium, important for muscle function, sleep recovery. Vitamin D, immune system and hormones. B vitamins, energy production. Iron, oxygen transport. Fatigue levels, zinc, immune and healing, and omega-3s for inflammation control. I did want to end with that so you guys have just even more information to take with you. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, my name is Dr. Cole Ryan. Freedom Physical Therapy and Fitness, rebranding to Freedom Functional Wellness, and we're here with Nick and Base Nutrition. So,
one last thing, for anybody who wants to try Base, I will create a promo code that you can use for your clients or anybody like that. I know you said you want to add it to the program that you're wanting out, but we could create a promo code and give people a little discount too if they want to try Base out.
So stay tuned for the promo code. Again, thanks guys for watching. Have a good rest of your day.